from the Big Flim Studios in sunny Southern California, it's Big Flim's Pigskin Picks with your host, Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming. Happy Saturday, folks. This is your host, Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming, coming to you once again with another episode of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV. This is week 6 of the college football season for the colleges that are participating and playing their games this year in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. And once again, I would like to add that please exercise social and physical distancing, as well as use your hand sanitizer and definitely wear your mask when you're outside or when you're among other people, and also stay at least 6 feet apart. So please take care of your health and your family members, and also think about your fellow man as well. All right, with that being said, I got that little health warning out of the way. Let's go into our picks for week 6 of the college football season, shall we? All right. Earlier today, we had the Red River Shootout between Texas and Oklahoma. And I just found out that Oklahoma held on in a close game. It was a shootout, took 4 overtimes, but Oklahoma held on to beat Texas. And Oklahoma won the 5 of the last 6 matchups in the Red River Shootout. And, of course, we have some other key games coming up, especially in the ACC, where we got the Miami Hurricanes, the U, versus the defending national champion, the Clemson Tigers. But I will talk about that a little later on. So let's go ahead and get started here, folks, shall we? First, we're going to start off with my home state team, the University of Georgia Bulldogs, ranked number 3 in the nation, take on the number 14th ranked Tennessee Volunteers, a.k.a. the Voluntold, as they travel to Sanford Stadium and playing on Dooley Field. Like I said, it's been a while since Georgia and Tennessee played each other. They were ranked in the top 20 since 2006. And like I said, Georgia, they did a pretty good job last week against Auburn. The defense stepped up to the plate. And plus their new young quarterback, he's showing some life that he could be the one that can carry the team the rest of the season. So with that being said, and also Tennessee has a 8-game winning streak going back to last season on the line. So will Georgia stop Tennessee's winning streak, and will Georgia continue with their winning streak against Tennessee and take another step closer to winning the SEC East Division? We will find out. So we're going to go with the Dogs over Tennessee in a close one, folks. Especially next week, they have the big matchup in the SEC and in the nation as Georgia takes on Alabama next week. And that's more to follow, folks. All right, our next pick we have is the Citadel Bulldogs at 0-3, traveling to West Point, New York to take on the West Point Black Knights for the Army. And I say, go Army. They're 3-1. And so far, they're doing pretty good. So I'm going with the Army Black Knights, West Point Black Knights on this one over the Citadel Bulldogs, another military institute down in Charleston, South Kakalaki. All right, our next pick, we have a Big 12 matchup where we have the 1-2 Texas Tech Red Raiders traveling to Iowa City, somewhere in Iowa, to take on Iowa State Cyclones, number 24 Iowa State Cyclones. They're 2-1. So far, Iowa State is doing pretty good in the Big 12. So we're going to go with Iowa State over Texas Tech. All right, our next matchup, we have the Central Arkansas Bears at 2-2, traveling to Arkansas State to take on the Red Wolves at 1-2. Well, I don't know much about either one of those schools, but I'm going to go with Central Arkansas. We're going to go with Central Arkansas over Arkansas State. That's an in-state rivalry, folks, if you don't know. All right, our next matchup will be the number 15 ranked BYU Cougars at 3-0, hosting the University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners at 3-1. Like I said, this should be a good game for BYU here in Provo. I am currently on military orders here at a National Guard base about 45 minutes north of Provo. Like I said, if I had the energy, I would have go down and watched the BYU play. But I'm watching the Georgia-Tennessee game. So, but anyway, we're gonna go with the BYU Tigers over the UT San Antonio Roadrunners. All right, our next matchup, we have the 1-3 Texas State Bobcats traveling to Troy, Alabama to take on the Troy Trojans, who are 1-1. Both teams are barely hanging in there so far in the season, but I'm going to lean towards the Troy Trojans over Texas State. All right, our next matchup, we have an ACC matchup where we have the 3-1 Pittsburgh Panthers traveling to Chestnut Hill, the suburb of Boston, to take on the Boston College Eagles, the BC Eagles at 2-1. Like I say, I caught a glimpse of their last week's game and it seemed like they did pretty good last week. I'm not sure if they won or not, but we're going to stick with Boston College Eagles over the Pittsburgh Panthers in the ACC matchup. All right, our next pick is a SEC matchup where we have the number 13 ranked Auburn Tigers, aka the Kittens, the teams who Georgia beat last week. They're hosting the Arkansas Razorback at 1-1. Both teams are 1-1. But I expect Bo Nix and the gang to rebound after losing to Georgia last week. So I expect Auburn to rebound in this game, and they're going to beat Arkansas in this SEC matchup, SEC West matchup, that is. All right, we're going to take our first break, and we will be right back with Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Hey there, folks. This is Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming, creator and host of Big Flim Radio and TV, with a very important PSA in regards to COVID-19. As you know, our world has been ravaged by the coronavirus pandemic that has upended our normal daily routines. We must do our part to minimize the spread of COVID-19 by practicing social physical distancing, which is 6 feet space between each other, wear a face mask or shield, use hand sanitizer at all times, and wash our hands constantly for at least 20 seconds. Big Flim Radio and TV is sending our prayers for those who have been infected and recovering from this virus. Our hearts go out to those who lost loved ones and friends to this COVID-19 scourge. Please stay safe and do your part to help minimize the spread of COVID-19 until an FDA-approved vaccine is available. Big Flim Radio and TV cares.
Story you'd like to share with us. Tell us. All right, beat's coming up. I stopped at a buddy's house this weekend, and when I walked in, he was vacuuming the floor with an old canister vac. He's got the hose in one hand and a hiney in the other. When he turned to look at me, he hit the end of the retractable power cord pulling it out of the electrical socket. The cord whipped around in the air like a snake. The plug hit him right between the eyes just as he had turned to look at me. He never saw it coming. It knocked him right on his butt. He didn't have the vacuum in hand, but he was still holding his Heineken. Never spilled a drop. My kind of man. Well, at least he has his priorities in order. If you want to share a story you've heard over Heineken, call 1-800-44-RED-STAR. The machine is always on. Talk to you later. Heineken USA, White Plains, New York. You know, 48 years ago, when they opened the first In-N-Out burger in California, they had just a single idea: to make the best-tasting hamburgers they could, with fresh patties and the best beef, sizzling hot and juicy off the grill, and hand-leaf lettuce, plump, ripe tomatoes, cooked to order just the way you want it. They wanted to make every hamburger up fresh to order, exactly the way each customer liked it. Back then, In-N-Out didn't think of using microwaves or heat lamps or frozen French fries or buns with preservatives. So today, you still won't find them here. For a really fresh hamburger, call 1-800-786-1000 for the In-N-Out near.
Who are you?
We're Big Flim Radio and TV. Welcome back, folks. If you haven't had a chance to check out Big Flim Radio and TV website, I encourage you to do so, especially now we're in that tail end of the year where the holidays will start rolling on. We got Thanksgiving coming up, and of course, less than a month away, we got Christmas. So everybody's trying to make their Christmas list and establish their Christmas plans for this holiday season 2020. Won't you check out Big Flim Radio and TV's online store? Like I said, you have plenty of Big Flim Radio and TV themed merchandise, for your loved ones, friends, co-workers, strangers, aliens from Mars. Hey, there's some nice gifts there. T-shirts, mugs, cups, bottles, you name it, it's there. Please check out the online store, as well as the website in general, because we have 6 podcast shows dedicated to music, talk, veterans information and issues. So please, and also sports. This is one of the podcast shows. This, as well as our NFL counterpart, which you will hear tomorrow or later on this evening, depending on what time I have recorded. So please check out Big Flim Radio and TV website at www.bigflimradiotv.com. Again, that's www.bigflimradiotv.com. And if you want to be a guest picker on Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College or NFL edition, send us an email with your picks at bigflimradiotv@gmail.com. Again, that's bigflimradiotv@gmail.com. And we also on Twitter. You can also do the same thing on Twitter. Go to Twitter with hashtag #Flim_radio. Again, that's Flim, FLEM_radio, RADIO. And also we have a Facebook group page as well where you can do the same thing. Now let's get back to our Pigskin Picks College Edition, shall we? All right, our next pick we have is also, we're going back to the Big 12 where we have Kansas State Wildcats at 2-1, traveling to Fort Worth, Texas to take on the 1-1 TCU Horned Frogs. Right now, we're going to probably lean with Kansas State Wildcats over TCU in this one. All right, our next pick, we have the 0-4 Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, traveling to Boca Raton, Florida, to take on the 0-1 Florida National University Panthers, or FIU. Like I said, both programs haven't got their first win of the year yet, so somebody's going to snap that streak and get their first win. With that being said, I guess we'll lean towards Florida National with their first win over Middle Tennessee State. All right, our next pick, we have, like I said, this is the first game for Temple Owls as they travel to Annapolis to the Naval Academy to take on the 1-2 Navy Shipmen. All right. Like I said, both teams, like I said, this is Temple's first game of the season, and Navy is 1-2, so they're kind of struggling a bit. So I'm hoping that Temple will get their first win of the season against Navy down in Annapolis. All right, our next pick is East Carolina Pirates at 0-2, traveling to Tampa, Florida to take on the University of South Florida Bulls at 1-2. Like I said, they've been doing pretty good this year. Like I said, they probably struggled over the last couple of games, but I think USF will rebound and beat East Carolina Panthers in a close one, folks. All right, we got our primetime matchup tonight in the ACC, where we have the 7th-ranked University of Miami, Florida Hurricanes, or the Canes, or the U for the locals down in South Florida, as they travel to Death Valley in Clemson, South Carolina, to take on the number 1 ranked Clemson Tigers. Both teams are 3-0, and when I was watching the College Game Day show this morning, everybody's thinking that University of Miami is back, because they were a dominant team in the 80s. They won 3 national championships under Jimmy Johnson, stuff like that, and they think they got their swagger back. But I think Trevor Lawrence and Dabo Sweeney, the coach, I think they'll definitely win this one. I would say in a very close fashion. So we're going with the number 1 ranked Clemson Tigers over the Miami Hurricanes, a.k.a. Thunderstorm, a.k.a. the U, or the Canes. And I also want to make a quick correction that I mentioned at the beginning of the show. The defending national champion is LSU Tigers, who lost today in a heartbreaking loss over Texas A&M at College Station, Texas, by the way. All right, now moving right along, we have the 3-1 University of Texas El Paso Miners traveling to Louisiana to take on the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs at 2-1. Both teams are doing pretty good so far, but I think we're going to lean towards Louisiana Tech in a close one over UTEP Miners. All right, we're heading back to the SEC where we have the 1-1 Mississippi State Bulldogs traveling to Lexington, Bluegrass Country, to take on the 0-2 Kentucky Wildcats, who are very struggling this year so far. I don't think the road's not going to get any easier for the Wildcats. So we're going to go with Mississippi State in a tough one over Kentucky. All right. In our next matchup, we have the University of North Carolina Charlotte, the 49ers at 0-2, traveling to Denton, Texas to check on University of North Texas Mean Green at 1-2. I guess that's a very interesting team name, the Mean Green. Well, both teams have struggled so far this season. So I want to give this one to the Charlotte 49ers to get their first win of the season. All right. And plus, there's some other matchups that have been postponed because of COVID-19. We have the number 23 ranked Louisiana Raging Cajuns at 3-0. Supposed to play Appalachian State, the Mountaineers at 2-1. Also, the Arizona State Sun Devils and the number 12 Oregon Ducks. They're from the Pac-12 or the Puke 12. They won't start their season until I think the end of this month or beginning of next month. You get the Eastern Michigan Eagles versus the Ohio Bobcats. Then you have the Maine Black Bears and the Connecticut Huskies. Then you got the Ball State Cardinals and the Buffalo Bulls. Then you have the Indiana Hoosiers and the number 25th ranked Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Big Ten, they don't start their season until near the end of this month as well. Then you got the USC Trojans versus the Stanford Cardinals from the Pac-12. Then another Pac-12 matchup, Washington State Cougars and UCLA Bruins. Same reason, because of COVID, and they don't start their season until the end of this month or beginning of November. Then you got the Florida Atlantic Owls at 1-0, and the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles at 1-3. And also you got New Mexico State and Hawaii from the WAC. They haven't started their season yet. Then you got the UAB Blazers at 3-1, and the Rice Owls hasn't started their season yet. All right, folks, let's go ahead and do a recap of all of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Edition. Like I said, we picked University of Georgia over Tennessee. We got the Army West Point Cadets over the Citadel Bulldogs. We got the Iowa State Cyclones over Texas Tech Red Raiders. We got Central Arkansas Bears over Arkansas State Red Wolves. We got B15 ranked BYU Cougars over UT San Antonio Roadrunners. We got Troy Trojans over Texas State Bobcats. We got Boston College over Pittsburgh Panthers in the ACC. We got the number 13 ranked Auburn Tigers, a.k.a. the Kitty Cats, or the Auburn Kittens, or War Buzzards, over the Arkansas Razorback in the SEC. We got Kansas State Wildcats over TCU Horned Frogs in the Big 12. We got FIU Panthers over Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders. We got Temple Owls over the Navy Shipmen. We got South Florida Bulls over the East Carolina Panthers. And we got the number 1 ranked Clemson Tigers over the number 7 ranked Miami, Florida Hurricanes, a.k.a. the Thunderstorm, or the U. We got Louisiana Tech Bulldogs over UTEP Miners. We got Mississippi State Bulldogs over the Kentucky Wildcats in the SEC. And last but not least, we got the Charlotte 49ers and the over North Texas Mean Green. What an interesting name for a team. All right, folks. That is about does it for this week's episode of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV. And also don't forget to check out Big Flim's Pigskin Picks NFL Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV as well. Like I say, you probably hear it later on this evening or definitely tomorrow. So please check it out, as well as check out the website and check out all the other podcast channels as well as the online store, especially with the holidays coming up. Go to www.bigflimradioandtv.com. Again, that's bigflimradioandtv.com. That's BIGFLEMRADIOTV.com. Until then, tune in again next week for another edition of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, and practice social physical distancing. We have to do our part in order to help eliminate and defeat this COVID-19 pandemic. Hey folks, this is Lorenzo Big Flim Flaming creator and host of Big Flip Radio and TV, with a very important message about this upcoming 2020 elections. 2020 is going to be a very contentious election cycle in modern history, especially the presidential race. The future course of our country is at stake, and you must do your part to make sure that the right candidate is elected to guide our local, state, and national policies in order to preserve our country and our way of life. Big Flim Radio and TV encourages you to do your research on all candidates running for office, as well as all of the propositions, amendments, etc. that are placed on the ballots pertaining to your state and local municipalities. Most important of all, please get out and vote either by going to the polls, mail-in ballots, early voting, etc. Please tell your friends, neighbors, co-workers, family members, and church congregants to get out and vote. Big Flim Radio and TV does not endorse any candidates, so please get out and vote.
Did you ever look at the label on a can of caustic drain cleaner? Why have it around? Especially if you have kids. If you have trouble with sewage or drains, call a non-caustic professional. Me. I'm your roto-rooter man. I can take care of any problem from the little drain to the big main. Caustic chemicals can be hazardous to your children's health. I'm not. Come on, taste it. I'm tasting it. There must be thousands of strawberries in there. Cassie, what are you doing? It's a perfectly good drinking habit.
Gnarly, dude. This is Jess Bacoli. When I'm out hanging tin, catching the waves, checking out the chicks, and skipping Mr. Hand's class, I'm listening to Big Flim Radio and TV. Oh.
Big Flim's Pigskin Picks NFL and college football editions are a production of Black Rebel Productions in association with Flim Media, a division of LWF Enterprises, LLC. The opening theme music clips are the sole properties of CBS Sports College Football as well as Fox NFL Sports. This podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only.